Good afternoon, and welcome to the webcast on news4jax.com, where we're talking about your health. Sitting with me is Dr. Gulani, world-renowned LASIK surgeon and inventor, and we'll talk about that in just a second. We're going to talk about your eye health, whether or not you're a candidate for LASIK, whether or not it's a financially right move for you. So, Dr. Gulani, let's start with some of the basics. People have heard the term LASIK, and they really don't understand or know what it means. They know what it is to wear glasses. They know what it is to wear contacts. What is it when you perform a LASIK procedure?
LASIK procedure, Bruce, like you rightly said, it's one of the most commonly used names, if you may, of a surgery that is actually just one among many laser vision surgeries. So the word LASIK has become as famous as FedEx or Xerox, if you may. So LASIK surgery is where we shape your cornea with a very advanced laser technology which actually sculpts the shape of your cornea within minutes, and then we put the flap back and you start seeing, which is if you were nearsighted, farsighted, or astigmatism. Now, what is very important educatively, which we are sharing today, is LASIK is just one among numerous laser vision techniques that can be designed for each patient separately. So we can do surgery even without cutting flaps, without using blades, and these advanced laser techniques are available. These are again part of actually what I call vision corrective surgeries, which includes laser, lens-based surgeries, even combinations. So there's a whole wide spectrum available today for so many people to have their vision corrected and safely and for great long-term outcomes.
You bring up an interesting point. One procedure is not tailored to everybody.
Yes.
And that's why it's important that you're an educated consumer when you come to the doctor. So I come to you and I say, Dr. Gulani, I've been wearing glasses or I've been wearing contacts for years. And you know what? I'm tired of putting them in the morning. I'd like to, see what's going on around me. When I first wake up, I'm looking to see what's going on in the world around me when I'm playing sports and I can't wear my glasses. What do I need to know to find out if I'm a candidate for LASIK?
I would even take it to a step higher, Bruce. I would even say the patient shouldn't even say, am I a candidate for LASIK? What they should just say is, I wear glasses and contacts, doctor. What's the best procedure for me? That way you're not narrowing down to something that may not be the ideal choice for you, right? So let's say a patient comes and says, I wear contacts, glasses, doctor, I'm tired of this. What is the best thing for me? By asking that question, what they're asking the doctor is, tell me honestly, what's the safest thing for me? What is the best technology application for me? And what is the best thing long-term, keeping my profession and vision requirements in demand?
And your health and safety is indeed the most important thing. So that said, what are the key questions that the consumer, and make no bones about it, you are a consumer when you come in and you're asking about a LASIK procedure or an eye corrective procedure, what are the main questions that you should ask your doctor?
So the first thing is, like we said, what is the best technique or technology for me? And then if that's LASIK, great. What kind of LASIK are you doing on me? Why? 2, what are the side effects, complications that can occur with this particular surgery, even though it's very minimal? LASIK is, by the way, one of the most successful surgeries ever. But there are side effects, complications if done in the wrong cases. And then, doctor, what are the long-term outcomes? If something goes wrong, how can it be fixed? Can you fix it for me? Or will I be shipped somewhere far away? Then, who is doing my preoperative evaluation? Who's going to do my surgery? And who's going to see me post-op? Very important. Your surgeon should be fully involved in this process because only then is the accuracy consistent. Plus, you've been taking care of somebody who knows what happened during surgery. So to me, these are vital aspects of how you can avoid complications, side effects, and doing the wrong techniques on different people.
Now, you brought a model here of the cornea of the eye. People know that when you wear glasses, basically the shape of the lens acts as an artificial way to go ahead and reshape your eye. If you wear contacts, it does the same thing. Show me what these LASIK procedures do to your eye in an effort to improve your vision.
Now, the simple way to look at this, we have computer models, but I think this is a great way to explain. Your eye is like a camera. In this camera, basically, the shape of your cornea decides your vision. If you're very curved in the cornea, what we call very steep, you are nearsighted. If it's very flat, you are farsighted. And if it's shaped like a football as opposed to a basketball, you have astigmatism. Now, additionally, don't forget, you have a lens in your eye, very much like a camera. This lens needs to be clear, meaning you're young enough to have laser surgery, because laser does nothing more than shapes this cornea to a perfect shape so you can see without glasses. So that being an important point here, if this lens in your eye is cloudy, is an early cataract, then you rather go and remove the cataract and do a surgery rather than LASIK. So as long as your lens is clear, you can shape the cornea with LASIK, and that's what makes you see.
Is there an age threshold? Is there a point where, because there are a lot of kids, you know, who don't want to wear glasses and don't want to wear contacts, and they ask their mom and dad about it, where the person's eyes stop changing dramatically and they become more of a candidate for this kind of procedure?
Yes. The minimal age by FDA requirements is 18 to 19 years, but more importantly, the way I teach LASIK surgeons to look at is, besides the age, also to look at the records over the last 2 years. Make sure there's no changes in the refractive error. And that is vital. Some people may change at 20. Then there are some pathologies which are caught because they keep on changing even beyond 20 years of age, like keratoconus. So it's very important not only to go by age, but again, look at the profile of the patient, see them once, twice if they're in that age group where things could change. Confirm that there is stability before going for surgery.
Same considerations on the opposite end of the spectrum for seniors?
No. You know, Bruce, we've done a show here where I've done LASIK on a 90-year-old. Actually, we've done just approaching a 100-year-old too. I don't think there's an upper limit for laser vision surgery as long as the eye is healthy. So these are patients, let's say, who had their cataract surgery years ago, who still have astigmatism in their cornea or are near or farsighted. They are pretty much a normal eye. So age doesn't matter. If you have capacity in your camera, you can have LASIK surgery. Absolutely.
Now, a number of you have sent in questions to ask Dr. Gulani here at newsforjax.com, and we've got some of those questions for you. And by the way, if we don't get to your question on the air today, rest assured that Dr. Gulani will have all of them, and he'll be in touch with you to find those answers. Also going to share a couple of very compelling stories during the course of this webcast that may very well answer you some questions. That said, let me go to the first question from one of our viewers. Rebecca from Jack's Beach says, I had LASIK when I was a teenager, and I've had trouble since. I'm 26 now and need to wear glasses. Can I get a new round of LASIK to fix my vision problems? So I guess the question really is, can we turn back the clock and fix those problems?
Yes, again. But again, Bruce, you know the way I like to answer, always give logic with the answer. The first question I would have for this patient, of course, she has to be seen before you make an answer. Now, there could be 3 reasons for this. Rather than jumping in and thinking of how can I fine-tune or touch up this LASIK, you've got to first think, did the surgeon, when he do LASIK, did not reach the goal? Is that the first cause? If that's the case, then I'll finish the job, meaning you'll get to the goal and make her see again. 2, did she have good surgery and the surgeon did a great job, but she has regressed, meaning her body reshaped the cornea a little bit, then you fine-tune it. 3, are there changes happening in the eye that are unrelated to the LASIK, like age-related? They're hitting 45 and now they can't read, or they're hitting 60 years of age and they've got early cataracts. So again, if you see, Bruce, once you look at the patient and you analyze logically, the whole plan just unfolds in front of you. So once we see her, Rebecca, once we see you, we evaluate your eye, look at the safety parameters, and look at what aspect of your camera needs to be tuned or corrected. Yes, you can have the option again.
Again, going back to what we talked about from the very beginning, the treatment has to be tailored to the individual. You can't just say that there's a blanket treatment for everybody. And I can almost hear people out there asking, all right, can I afford this? You know, does insurance cover it? So let's address that question.
Sure. Insurance in most cases does not cover this because it's considered an elective refractive procedure. And that being the case, though, there are 2 ways to look at this. One is, there are studies being done which show that contact lens wearing over a lifetime is more expensive than LASIK procedure on average. Now, LASIK prices also differ. So the patient must do their due diligence in finding out the facility, the surgeon, investigating the track record of the surgeon, because you really don't want to go to a fly-by-night operation or go for a deal. I've always said this on stage. I mean, blindness at any deal is not a great bargain. These are your eyes. So find out what the prices are, what the cost is and why, and what's your surgeon's qualification, what is involved. And also the other thing I don't like is, you know, when people go in and they get different prices for different things. My point again is, keep the price as your second question. Your first question is still, we'll keep repeating through the show, Bruce, is, what am I a candidate for, doctor? First tell me that, then we'll discuss the price. You don't want to go and saying, I want so-and-so surgery. Well, who decided that for you? And you don't really want a doctor who knows only 1 or 2 techniques, so now they are narrowed down to doing those 2 techniques for you for various reasons. You want to make sure your doctor can do numerous techniques to remove your glasses. That's where you get a tailored technique. Now discuss prices. That's okay.
And while we're talking about money issues, people sit back and say, okay, well, it's cheaper for me to go ahead and buy a pair of glasses at, you know, a couple of $100, $250 with the frames, or contacts. But if you amortize it over the course of a year or a couple of years, that's a financial consideration as well.
It is, and that's what I was relating to the study with contacts. The other thing, Bruce, is lifestyle. I mean, for somebody who is more than -3 nearsighted or more than +3 farsighted or more than -2 astigmatism, their lifestyle is very hindered. They can't even get into many professions. They cannot enjoy the outdoors or even whatever their, their day-to-day living is. So that freedom of lifestyle, I think that itself has a value.
But I got to tell you, my tennis game would suffer when I wore glasses because, you're constantly going like this with the sweat coming down. Yep. We're going to introduce you to John Paul in a second and tell you his story. But first, let's take another viewer question. This is from Rod, just off I-10 over there in Marietta. He writes, I'm in my 50s and have always worn contacts or glasses. And we've answered this indirectly now. Am I too old to get LASIK?
Straight answer, no. There is no such thing, like I've said before. There is no such upper limit for age as long as your eye is healthy. Now, where I would, again, explain this thing in detail, though we've discussed this, is, again, the question is already saying the word LASIK, which doesn't make sense to me ever. That's why me and my staff are also all the doctors I train, I tell them this one thing. Never focus on one thing without knowing that that's the best thing for the patient. That's a wrong way of thinking. So his question should actually, again, be, I am 50. I don't want to wear glasses and contacts. Doctor, what's my option? And now you go and say, okay, I'm looking at your eye with technologies that I carry here, which we've introduced in Northeast Florida. Let's say we do the Penacam, and I see early lens changes. Or if I see that he's very far-sighted, now the whole surgery changes to lens-based. If I see he's nearsighted with astigmatism, LASIK. If the cornea is thinner, advanced laser surgery without cutting a flap. If, like we're going to see a patient here, very nearsighted and the cornea is too thin, you can put a contact lens permanently in the eye. So the options are so numerous, but you can see how it unfolds once you see the patient.
All right.
So the straight answer is absolutely.
Let's see one of your patients. John Paul, if you would join us up here on the couch. You hear a lot about high-definition TV these days, and I guess there's a parallel here because we're going to talk about high-definition vision. So, John Paul, tell me your story pre-surgery.
Well, prior to surgery, I was nearsighted, extremely nearsighted. I had to wear glasses and contact lens. So it turned out to be a bit of a burden to me, especially when I was studying at the university here locally at UNF. And so I just wanted to kind of change that. I wanted to have clear vision every day where I wake up and I won't have to worry about reaching over, getting a pair of glasses, or going to the bathroom and putting on my contact lens.
All right, so John Paul comes into your office. You hear his story, you hear his concerns, you hear how he wants to change his lifestyle. And your response?
So, John Paul, if you recollect, this is what I do with everybody, but I'm sure you'll recollect extensive discussion.
Yes.
Right? Extensive.
Wait a second. You take your time with the patients, because so many doctors usher you in and out.
Cannot. Being a practice, I see LASIK complications from all over the world referred to us, and we've done shows on that too before. Bruce, I'll tell you, I have zeroed it down to just one thing. The patients were very intelligent, the doctors meant very good, but why do complications occur? If I have to zero down on one thing, it is the surgeon and patient not meeting before surgery and not spending time going over extensive Q&A. And like I said, the same question again, is this the best technique for me, doctor? Or are you doing the only one thing that you know? Very big difference here.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was an important point.
Yes.
So anyhow, you and John Paul are sitting there, you're having a discussion about his eye care health and his future.
So then John Paul, I discussed his future and what he wants to do, what is his profession he wants to get into, what does he expect from vision, his outdoor desires and stuff. Looked at his eye in detail, anatomically, with the Penacam in 3D. Did all those testings and came to a conclusion that his cornea was thinner than most people, and he was nearsighted with astigmatism. I wanted to correct everything. And we also do higher order corrections, meaning beyond nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, there are also certain orders of vision which you must be after. That's what results in vision better than 20/20. So
you can, everything's the 20/20 is the standard, the gold standard.
No, it's not. With majority of our patients going better than 20/20 with the techniques that we've been doing. I mean, John Paul is another example. John, what's your vision right now?
2010.
2010.
Which is better than 2020.
So 2020, better than 2020 is 2015, one line better, and 2010 is two lines better. It's as good as supervision. So
that means you can see the very bottom line there on that eye chart that we all hate when we stand there in the eye.
Absolutely correct.
Actually, many eye charts don't have a 2010.
Really?
You have to special order, or nowadays, since we are teaching this concept, companies are producing. Eye charts don't, in many cases, don't even have better than 2010.
Right, so I got to ask you, again, I can hear the questions filtering in through the web here. So the joy of social media. Did it hurt?
No, it did not.
Was there any discomfort?
No, at all.
How long from the time you walked into the office for the procedure itself to the time you went home?
Within hours, I can see 20. I was seeing perfectly fine. Obviously, I still had a little bit of discomfort because of the surgery, of course. But by the end of the day, I was seeing perfect. I didn't have to wear glasses or anything at all.
And how long before John Paul's life was back to as it was the day before the surgery?
Within days, I was back to normal, even better, a lot better.
So what can you do now that you couldn't do before that you're like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner?
Well, some of the things is obviously I can go in the swimming pool, to the beach, wouldn't have to worry about the contacts kind of drifting away, if you will. Some of the other things that I can do is, you know, I don't have to go shopping for contact lens anymore. I don't have to go visit my doctor once a year because obviously I have 20/10 vision. I'm perfectly fine. So I'm excited about that.
Well, great. Thanks so much for sharing
Thank
your
you so
story.
much for your time.
Appreciate you being here. So let's share another viewer's question.
Okay.
This is from Melanie in Arlington, and Melanie in Arlington writes, my daughter is 17 and wants LASIK. Is she a candidate or too young? So I guess what Melanie really wants to know is, are my daughter's eyes still changing and do I have to wait?
Yes. And again, Bruce, I'm pointing out that word again for the third time in the question. It already says LASIK. And this is my biggest thing here is, remember guys, LASIK is just one among close to 20 laser vision techniques that your doctors should know and should present to you as what is best for you. And then if they choose LASIK, it's great. That's one of the best surgeries, but it should be applicable to you. So number one, your question should again be, I'm 17 years old and I need to see without glasses and contacts. What is my best option, doctor? And let them come with the answer saying, okay, it's LASIK, and if it's LASIK, then what kind of LASIK? And so the answer is again, one, is it the best technique? Second, at 17, I would like you to wait another year at least. But again, I would like to see your records of the past 2 years to see if you're changing in your vision or have you stabilized. That's vital for me to decide if you're ready for surgery.
All right. So let's go to the next question because it's from Henry in Miramar. He says, I had cataracts removed 2 years ago and I'm 72. He asked, can I get LASIK? I'm not going to ask you that again because I know the answer. But is he a candidate for reconstructive eye surgery?
Yes, absolutely. You can have LASIK and you can have laser vision surgery. Think about this now for a moment. You have had surgery. This is Henry, you said, from Miramar.
Henry from Miramar.
Henry, you have had surgery for cataract. So the only pathology in your eye which was age-related was your lens which became cloudy. That's what's called a cataract, and your doctor did a great job, took off the cataract, put an intraocular lens in. All right? Now your eye is a normal camera. Only thing affected now is the shape of the viewfinder like we discussed, the cornea. So you shape that up with the laser, you have full potential. If there's no disease in your eye, you have full capability of getting to 20/20.
All right. So then there's Eva from Southside, and she says, my doctor told me this isn't my best option. I should stick with glasses. Why can't I have the procedure?
Very good question. This is actually a very good question in a way because, like I said, the first thing patients should ask doctors is, what am I a candidate for? Now, when they're told they're not a candidate for, what word is missing now is LASIK. Right? Again, this is important because all the patient is saying here is, I was told I'm not a candidate for LASIK. My point again, why only LASIK? Why doesn't the doctor or the patient sit down and think, what is the best for me? And now why am I being told no? Is there a pathology? Is there a disease? Is my retina or brain damaged that I can't see? If those are not the cases, there are again the whole options we just discussed. Like we have another patient here today, Larry. Let's say there are a few reasons. The most common ones I'll tell you, as having taught LASIK all over the world, I'll give you quick pointers. The most common reason I found patients coming to me that their surgeon said they are not candidates for LASIK is because LASIK is the only thing they do. So then, because the patient doesn't fit the parameter, they basically tell the patient, I can't help you, but they haven't completed the statement that there are other things that can be done. 2, the conditions for your eye to have surgery, your cornea may be too thin, you may be extremely nearsighted, extremely farsighted, or very high astigmatism, or you may have crossed into an age where your lens must be having changes in it. So once you decide what is going on in your eye, there is absolutely a procedure that suits you, is safe for you, and can give you great vision. And that's where Larry comes in, where we can even put in intraocular lenses or a contact lens, Bruce, permanently in the eye, what I call lens augmentation procedure. And you actually have an option to see.
Maybe this sounds simplistic, but you wouldn't go to a restaurant that just had one menu option. Of course, you're talking about a medical procedure here, but you want to know that you do have options with the guidance of a world-class surgeon. Since we've just been talking about Larry, why don't we bring you up here onto the set as our live webcast continues on newsforjax.com with Dr. Arun Gulani. All right, so did you wear glasses, contacts? What was your story?
I wore glasses since very young, contacts middle school on, and started developing problems with the contact lenses and was taken out of them for a number of years. Wanted to get back to being free and being able to do what I want without having the restrictions of the glasses.
All right, so you go seek out some medical advice, and you visit a doctor, presumably a LASIK surgeon, and the surgeon tells you what?
Told me I was not a candidate because of some corneal concerns and thinness of the cornea.
And you sit back, your initial reaction is what?
I still wanted that option to proceed to some surgeries, what the best option would be. So through referrals, got to Dr. Gulani, and he proceeded with the implantable contact lens.
Now, Larry had some fortuitousness. I'm going to have this. I'm going to find a way to get it done and make sure it's the right procedure for me. But Dr. Gulani, the reality is there's some people who go, okay, I'm not a candidate, that's it. I'm done. I'm resigned to the fact I'm going to have to wear glasses.
Correct. And we see that all the time in our practice because patients come saying their surgeon said can't have LASIK, and again comes back to our point, that's only LASIK. What about the other stuff? So again, look at your eye as a camera. With Larry, when he presented to me, he had seen numerous eye surgeons all over, and he was told he's not a candidate because his cornea is too thin and he was very nearsighted. So obviously when you're shaping with the laser, you can't keep on shaping it because you're removing tissue from a cornea that thin. But he's so nearsighted, he could not function with glasses because he's a very active lifestyle. So we decided here that we could correct his nearsightedness by putting in a contact lens permanently inside the eye. This way you're not touching the cornea, you're going into his eye, procedure is done within minutes. You use drops to numb the eye, make a very small opening in the eye, release the lens in the eye, it goes inside, it's tucked into position, within minutes you're seeing, and you're done. And we did both eyes, one eye separate at a time. How do you feel, Larry, now with that?
I feel great. The freedom to do what I want to do. There was no discomfort through the surgeries. It was done in a matter of about a few hours each eye over the course of about a week.
Mm-hmm. And while the procedure was being done, piece of cake?
I was out. I didn't know anything about it.
Just so you woke up, and then all of a sudden, I have the freedom to do the things that I've wanted to do. Has it changed your life dramatically?
It has. I'm able to, like Jean Paul said, the pool. I'm out on the athletic fields with my kids again, running around.
Bigger thing was that. Because I remember Larry, when he came to me and I made the promise to him, he said, I love to teach baseball, and with his kids he does that. And today you won some national, you have a national. And the other thing, Bruce, is you can still manipulate. I use that word manipulate because it's important. When you treat your eye like a camera, you can literally design the surgery for his lifestyle. He's closely approaching at that age where his reading is an issue too. Remember, that's the fourth problem. So nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism are three things related to the shape of the cornea. The fourth is because your lens in the eye stops zooming after 45. So if people zoom with their arms, right?
And you hope your arms are long enough that there comes a point.
Or they get longer.
Yeah.
But with these ICL, the additional thing which we can also do with LASIK is I gave him the ability to see distance and near, both. So that, Larry, is also important because, as you know from our planning, extensive discussions, we met many times. Because if someone comes with a question like, I've been told I'm not a candidate, besides the time that I take with every patient, I take additional time because these patients are looking for help. So you have to be their advocate and make sure you're guiding them on the right track, but also helping them make that decision. So with him, keeping all these things in mind, we gave him distance and near with ICL procedure, which is a great technique for cases who are not LASIK candidates.
Larry, let me ask you, for those people who've been in a situation similar to yours, where they've gone to the doctor and the doctor said, you know, I'd love to help you, but I can't. What's your advice to them?
Keep checking. Keep finding other surgeons. Speak to Dr. Gulani. His patients and his staff have been fabulous, and the technology that he had and the plan that he laid out from the very beginning, the patience he had to see it through, made it all worthwhile.
I appreciate you sharing your story.
Thank you very
much. Thanks very much. We're going to take some more viewer emails here in a second. I want to remind you that Dr. Gulani is also an inventor. We'll talk about those inventions and how they have changed the way you're treated coming up in just a second. That said, let's field this question from Patty in Orange Park. Send it in to Ask Dr. Gulani on newsforjax.com. I hear the advertisements on TV, and each doctor seems to have a different technology available. How do I know what's best for me?
So, Bruce, same thing again. First of all, go in and meet the doctor. Second, again, like I said, your technology question doesn't even get there until you first find out what's the procedure for you. So you go in, your question is always going to be a very simple question. Doctor, I'm tired of wearing contacts and glasses. What's the best option for me, keeping my safety and my best interest in mind? Once they come up with that technique, now you go into, for that technique, doctor, what technology are you using and why? Are you the inventor? Are you the person who teaches with this technology? How do you know this is the best for me? You have the right to ask that question, surely. But again, that's the sequence. First question is still, what am I a candidate for? And then, for that surgery, what technology are you using? Then you'll get more knowledgeable about why that doctor is using that certain technology, and you have all the rights to sit down and say, doctor, please, I want you to explain this to me. Even if the technician's walking you through, I mean, people do screenings, I don't really agree with that. I would like the surgeon to sit down with the patient, because that, I believe, is the biggest reason for consistent success.
And you know, we don't want to appear redundant here, but I think it's interesting that many of the questions have the same tenor, because we've been inundated, you know, with the advertisements we see on TV, here on the radio, and look at in the newspapers and magazines. So there's this culture created where people think that it's all the same thing. And you've really, pardon the pun here, cleared that up for everybody who's watching this webcast right now. Let's talk about some of the procedures that you've brought. Tell me what they are, some of the inventions you've brought about, and how they've really changed the way people are treated.
Inventions, you can first classify, so this answer makes sense, diagnostic inventions and surgical interventions or inventions. So diagnostically, my focus has been for quite a few years now, as I teach all over the world, is how to make LASIK more predictable, more safer, and how to diagnose who not to do it in. So technologies like the Penacam that we have now, or using protocols with existing machines, is also something unique. There are ways to find out what patient is good for what surgery. These protocols and classification systems we have published. Now we are writing textbooks with it and explaining in video journals and teaching, of course, nationally, internationally. So other doctors can adapt the protocols and understand this concept of, even if I'm looking at someone with glasses, in my mind, how all these surgeries must stay unbiased, and then I decide which particular surgery I'm going to do for this particular patient and why. The second level of innovation is surgical, with various instruments that I've designed for LASIK, which are used by surgeons all over, even for intraocular surgery, for ICL, for cataract surgeries, how to make the surgeries more elegant. So it's less barbaric, it's less interventional, it's more accurate. And these are, again, the important goals that you start out with. Invention is nothing more than addressing a necessity. What's the necessity as a doctor, as a surgeon who wants perfection? It is safety and elegance.
And it is the patient's best interests
Always,
at the
yes.
forefront. What changes do you see in the future? And maybe I'm getting into something proprietary here. Are you working on some things that will change the landscape even further?
Yes. As you know, Bruce, we've done something on this. So the 3D way of doing surgery, three-dimensional, which I think is the future, where doctors will not be stuck to eyepieces. They'll be seeing things like on an IMAX theater and operating. Being a teacher, that's also great, because I've predicted picture-in-picture concepts that other doctors can follow and learn to while they're operating. I believe the future is going to be prevention. It'll reach that stage, like any other disease. I mean, why do people get nearsighted, farsighted, and have a stigma to them? So now you have, Bruce, a very deep topic here, actually. There are 3 levels. One is people who are born with these conditions, what we call natural, nearsighted, farsighted, astigmatism. Second, are age or disease-related, like example, cataracts, age-related, disease-related like keratoconus, when your cornea is so curved that you become a cone, so you can't be fit with contacts or glasses and can't have LASIK. So we put rings in that. Third level is very important, and which is really brewing into an epidemic according to what I've been talking about, is the people who had surgery before. Millions of people have had LASIK. Numerous people have had radial keratotomy, which was before LASIK, the incisional surgery. All those people today are looking for help to further enhance their vision, because either their vision has gone down, changed, or other things have happened which have distorted that vision. That whole population now is looking to what I call corrective LASIK surgery. So you can correct previous radial keratotomy, you can correct previous cataract, you can correct previous LASIK and bring them to the 21st century.
I've been in your office, and essentially what you can do is you can look back in time and see what was done, which helps you better plan for the future. All that said, before we run out of time, I want to remind you, you've got the email link on Ask Dr. Gulani at newsforjax.com. His office is over on the south side. You can certainly give Dr. Gulani and his staff a call at 296-7393. And remember, he said here, he'll sit down, he will spend the time to talk to you to make sure you're treated the way you deserve to be treated. So remind him that you saw that. Can we pop that up again real quickly once again and give that 800 number, which is toll-free for people who might be watching outside of the area. It's 888-LASIK-16. or you can go to his website at GulaniVision.com. Dr. Gulani, always a pleasure.
Our pleasure, too.
And we appreciate you watching this live webcast on NewsForJax.com.